Welcome to Decode It, a podcast series helping understand more about computer technologies and its beginnings. I'm Ashley Griffin, involved in IT from the 1980s, first with the Atari ST, then onto computer networks in the early 1990s. Today's podcast is about the video out connector used on computers, laptops and gaming consoles. At first, an RF, which is radio frequency encoder, was used to connect the TV that would see the signal as a broadcast station. It was spliced into the antenna cable via an adapter box. It emulated the signals that would have been received by the antenna on the roof. In the UK, this was channel 36. By today's standards, super low quality, as the video signal was encoded to radio, then decoded by the TV. On research, I was surprised to see the 1979 Atari 400 computer also had a dedicated video out connection. It had audio, composite video, chroma and lumiance, which was used for the higher S video display method. Although still analog, as the RF encoder was not used, it was much higher quality. The first Atari ST computer in 1986 also had a video out connection, was able to be used on a standard compatible VGA display via an adapter cable. A year later, in 1987, VGA, which is Video Graphics Array, connection became a standard. The VGA signals were still analog, having red, green, blue, horizontal and vertical sync separate connections. It also had a few extra connections for data used to pass information such as the display make, model, resolution compatibility back to the computer. VGA was able to support up to 2048 by 1536 pixel resolution, higher than HDMI, which is 1920 by 1080. Being analog, it's not as clear as today's HDMI connector method, although some prefer the older analog look. In April 1999, DVI, which is Digital Visual Interface, appeared, and as the name suggests, this was the first digital video connection. It was white and wider than the VGA blue connection. There were three types: DVI-D, DVI-A and DVI-I. DVI-A was the older style VGA blue connection in the newer DVI white connector size. DVI-I supported both analog and digital output. DVI-D was digital only. Both DVI-A and DVI-I were able to be used with an adapter to convert them to the blue VGA connection type. DVI-D supported up to 3840 by 2400 pixels, which is just over today's 4K size, being 3180 by 2160. There were other standards within the DVI, such as dual links. We'll not cover those as DVI is no longer used. December 2002 saw the introduction to the HDMI connector and is still in use today. It was electrically able to use DVI-D signals, so an adapter could be used from DVI-D to HDMI. We have some here, although no longer really used. HDMI expanded on the DVI-D in that it was more a data connection rather than just video. HDMI supports many data protocols, including CEC, which is Consumer Electronics Control, where the TV could send commands back to the PC, such as when pressing the power button could also power cycle the PC. There are many other protocols that HDMI support, however they would require their own podcast. DisplayPort also appeared around the same time and was more aimed at the PC market directly. HDMI had many other uses, including CEC and copyright protection to stop recording the signal. DisplayPort was display, audio and some data only. It looked almost identical, only with one edge being square. HDMI and DisplayPort are not interchangeable, hence the different connectors. DisplayPort also has a ++ version denoted by DP++, pronounced as DisplayPort++. Allows it to emulate HDMI. A DisplayPort to HDMI cable could be used. However, DisplayPort displays cannot be used with a HDMI PC, I've been burned on this once and learned very quickly. Today, both USB-C and Thunderbolt can be used for a display if the PC hardware supports it via a cheap adapter cable. Our smaller terminal PCs we sell support 4 displays, 2 via HDMI and 2 via USB-C connectors, all up to 4K resolution with no lag. The USB-C port turns into a video port rather than it seen as a USB emulating a display. This allows for higher frame rates that games would require. Thank you for spending some time with me. Subscribe to see more in the Decode It series.